So again, a reminder, tomorrow your quiz is going to be over the percent increase, decrease, notes, and problems that we've been working on this week. So it's basically going to resemble the front side of your opener today. Now, the quiz tomorrow will have 4 questions on it though, okay? So you need to have on your desk the percent increase, decrease, notes. Set it for me. First problem, a $400 cell phone is marked up 50%. Then it gets taxed at 4.5%. What is the final price of the phone? So looking at this, how many multipliers am I going to end up with? Nico? 2. So if we're going to have marked up 50%, that's going to be an increase or a decrease? An increase. And then if it's taxed at 4.5%, that's also going to be a increase.
Good job, Nico.
Stanisha, do our first steps 1 through 3 for us. Find us our first multiplier. Percent, right? Plus 50 what? Equals? 150 what? Percent. Change that percent to a decimal. So we divide by 100. I'm sorry, what'd you say? Darren, I'm not calling on you right now. But I'll call on you on the next one. 1.5.
I don't want to do the next one.
Good. So that's our first multiplier. It shows that we had an increase of 50%. So now we're going to find our next multiplier. So our next percent change is going to be that taxed at 4.5%. Darren, go ahead and get me my second multiplier.
What you talking about?
So how am I going to find the increase of 4.5%? How do I find that multiplier? According to your notes, I start at what?
What? Oh, 100%.
Okay. Then what do I do?
Add or subtract.
Be quiet. So add or subtract. So we did 50% already. So if I'm doing tax at 4.5%, I'm going to add what? 4.5%. And when you add those two numbers together, what do you get, Darren?
Yeah, 100% in it.
So just 100 plus 4.5.
Is that right?
So say it.
It's either 4.5.
What goes on the end of it? Okay. So now we're ready to move to step 3. Says to do.
Change percent to a decimal.
You do.
100.
So we're going to divide that number by 100. So just take divided by 100 in your calculator. So you don't have to clear it out.
Oops.
Just hit. Did you already clear it?
I know that. 1.045.
And this is our multiplier, so I'm going to circle it. So I failed my 2 multipliers. So now I'm ready to find the new cost of the $400 cell phone. So how do I determine the new cost of the $400 cell phone? Raise your hand if you know how to get it. Nico.
Take 400.
So I take the original price, which is $400.
And then you use your multipliers.
So I'm going to multiply by my multipliers.
And then it equals $600 and 627.
So 600.6, what'd you say?
627.
Do y'all agree with that? So let's look here. 400
627.
times 1.045 times 1.5. Oh, that's not what I got.
It's just the last 3, 627.
It's just 627.
627.
That's
$600. $627.
That's what I meant to say. So
That's
I
what-
kind of simplified.
Put my dollar sign in there and box it. Good.
You know, they really have no old money.
Okay, the next one, a video game that is originally $49.99 is on sale for 35% off. if it is taxed at 9.1%, how much would you pay for the game? So again, we're going to end up with two multipliers. Our first multiplier, our first increase, decrease, or our first percent that we're dealing with, it says it's on sale for 35% off. If it's on sale, is that going to be an increase or a decrease? Say it one more time. A decrease. Our second one, if it's taxed at 9.1%, that's going to be a increase. Zach.
Start at 100 minus 35.
So if you would just put...
Wait, 100%.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me increase. Thank you.
It's code.
So I'm going to start at 100%.
Minus 35% equals 65%.
Very good.
Divided by 100 equals 0.65.
And I'm going to circle that because I'm going to use that number
That's the multiplier.
in a moment. All right, Maya. What do I do now?
You're gonna do 100% plus 9.1.
Nice job.
Yeah, 109.1.
What do I put behind this number? Okay. So now you've done step 1, step 2, step 3. Change that percent to a decimal. So you by
1.0.
and this number is called my. So I'm going to circle it. Sadisha, take it from here.
You write down $49.99.
Because that's my original amount of the game.
Times 0.65. Times 1 and 0.91.
Okay.
Equals $35 and 450.408.
Okay. Because you're going to round it to the nearest
100.
hundredth, which is the nearest cent. So what number is in the nearest hundredth, or it's in the hundred spot? Hundred spot. What number is in your hundred spot? 5. Look to the right. That 0, 5 or greater? Nah. So what happens to my underlying number? It stays the same. So the price of the video game is now good. Once you get that down, flip it over. So my son found out that I like to use Amazon Prime a lot, and he sees how quickly things get to you. So he's like, Mom, I have money. I want to buy this new video game. It's for PlayStation 4. I forget the name of the game right now. He's like, I have enough money. I'm like, Brayden, I don't think you understand how expensive PlayStation games are. So I pulled it up on Amazon Prime. I'm like, it's like $60 or something like that. He's like, oh. He's like, never mind. Because he had enough money. He does not like to spend his money. He is stingy with his money. Where my daughter's like, sure, I'll buy it.
You know what? That's how you get places in life. Just-
Right? Well, my son takes off.
It is Nico.
You're just mad because I know how to keep my money.
And it's gone. I'll get you. So my son takes after my husband because my husband's stingy with his money. And then my daughter's like me, like, okay. Okay. So complete the following chart. I apologize if you guys didn't have it all done. I'll get you caught up. So complete the following chart. No, you're going to need that. By converting each type of number into other number types. Be sure to show all your work. If you do not remember how to convert fractions, decimals, to percents, you're going to get out the second set of notes that we took, this triad, where it says fraction to decimal, decimal to percent. You're going to have those. You're going to read the chart. So the top row, you have the fraction is given to us, right? So we need to know how to change the fraction to a decimal. So according to your notes, how do I change a fraction to a decimal? Zach?
You divide 7 by 8.
Okay, so you're going to take the numerator and divide it by the denominator. So 7 divided by 8 gets me?
0.875.
Good. So if you notice, I showed how I got my answer. Show your work, okay? So be sure to show your work. Just don't put the answer down or I will not take it. So now you can do this, you can get the percent in two different ways. You can either go back and use the fraction, 7/8, and change that to a percent, or you can look at the decimal and change the decimal to the percent. Now, yes, please box it. Now, which way do you think it's going to be easier? The fraction to a percent or a decimal to a percent? Decimal to a percent. Why? Who can answer and tell me why? Raise your hand. Dylan?
Take that and just add a percent to it.
You can't just take 0.875 and throw a percent on the back of it.
Take 87.5%.
Denisha, help him out. Why is it easier to go a decimal to a percent rather than a fraction to a percent? You can just move the decimal over 2, yeah? Is that what you're going to say? Yeah, it's basically one step, right? But if I do a fraction to a percent, it's going to be 2 steps. Because first I have to change the fraction to a decimal, then the decimal to a percent. So, 2 ways I can change a decimal to a percent. You guys already told me one. You guys said you could take 0.875 and you could move the decimal to the right 2 spots. 1, 2, which would get me?
87.5.
And then if I'm changing it to a percent, what goes behind it? Percent sign. Another way that you can change a decimal to a percent is to times it by 100. Either way is acceptable. You just have to show me your work.
Isn't number 2 like 55%? It goes.
Well, let's wait. I'll let you do number 2. Okay. So make sure you have not just your answer, but you have how you got your answer.
I can't see.
Mine are the wrong one, 6.8.
You don't really
Okay. So Dylan, we're looking at my second row. Now we just have the percent. We have 55%. You guys can choose to either change the percent to a fraction or you can change the percent to a decimal. You can start wherever you want. So you're going to choose to change the percent to a decimal. How do I change a percent to a decimal, Dylan?
0.55.
That's the answer. Now how'd you get it?
I did it on a homework sheet. I just did it.
Help him out, Zach.
You start at the percent and you go over 2.
So you started at the percent. You pretended there was a decimal behind it and you moved it to the left twice. And you got 0.55. Okay? What's another way I can change a percent to a decimal? You guys, not times. Say it again. Divide. So you could also take, 55% divided by 100, and you're going to get the same answer of 0.55. How would you read this number to me?
0.55.
No, 10. Oh,
Try it, Tanisha. You don't even have to say 0 or and. Because there's not a whole number in front of that decimal. 5500ths. Good. Okay, now we need to find the fraction. So you can either change the percent to a fraction or you can change the decimal to a fraction. Whichever is easier for you, I'd pick that. So what's going to be easier? Change a decimal to a fraction or a percent to a fraction? All right, Vernell, do it. So you said you're going to change the percent to a fraction? So percent means out of. So what's my denominator going to be? Say it again. 100. So what's my numerator? 55. Dylan, can you grab that door for me? We can open it back up after passing. All right, so now we have 55 over 100. We love fractions. Am I finished with this? No, I have to simplify, reduce. What are they both divisible by? 5. So 55 divided by 5 is? Anybody?
55 to 11.
Okay. Anybody answer 100 divided by 5?
Only.
Can I reduce again?
No.
No. Final answer. All right, one more row. So now you're given the decimal. You need to change that decimal to a fraction, or you can change that decimal to a percent. Who wants to try to move the decimal to either a fraction or a percent? What do you, it's Denisha, tell me what you're going to do. Okay, you want to change that decimal to a percent? How are you going to do that? You're going to move the decimal 2 spots? Okay. Am I going to move the decimal to the left or to the right? So 1, 2. So your new percent is going to be? Listen, it's a Denisha. All right, who can tell? Excuse me. Who can tell me the other way to change a decimal to a percent?
Divided by 100.
Not divide. Times. Yeah. So we're gonna multiply. Excuse me. Multiply it by 100. No, I think with the weather changing, it's making my throat sore.
It's cold.
I think as the older I get, I'm starting to get allergies and stuff like that. So my sinuses is aggravated.
Today isn't a great day for people.
All right. Last one. 2 ways that you can do this again. You can either choose to change that decimal to a fraction, or you can change the percent to a fraction. Either way is acceptable. Bobby,
Yes.
do you want to change a decimal to a fraction or a percent to a fraction? Huh? You have to pick one. You can't say neither. So do you want to do a decimal to a fraction or a percent to a fraction? Okay. So percent means, so my denominator will be, all right. And then what's my numerator?
256.
Very good. Nice job. 256. So what's 256 divided by 2? Okay. 100 divided by 2? Okay. What are they divisible by again?
2.
28 divided by 2? Or excuse me, 128 divided by 2?
0.5.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Is that 1,000 on the left?
64.
Should be 1,000.
Hold on real fast.
But then actually.
Alright, so 128 divided by 2.
65.
65. 50 divided by 2.
25.
What are they both divisible by again? Ooh, that's so good.
2.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It'll get you.
Okay, so no, you can't divide that by 2.
No. Well, never mind.
There's 5, 6.
128 divided by.
I know it was 5. Divisible by 5.
What's 128 divided by 2?
27.
What's 128 divided?
64.
64. 28.
How'd you get that, Darren?
Because I looked on my calculator.
64. Can I simplify that any further? No. Box it.
25, 6 over 100.
Okay. So, we're going to clarify something up about this. But if you're going to use the fraction and change the fraction to the decimal to a fraction, what would you need to determine with that decimal first? In order to change the decimal to the fraction, you'd have to determine the... Darren, if you're going to get up in the middle of my class to blow your nose, please don't disrupt it as well. So, if you're going to change that decimal to a fraction, what do you need to know? Anybody? Place value, yeah. All right, make sure you have it finished. Put your name on it.